Okay, brothers and sisters, back with you again. I believe this is part 5. I hope I'm not making a mistake. But anyway, I was ending up on man and woman, which is the first institution in the union of man, and how some of the dynamics in that play a very vital role in our development and a very vital role in our destruction if we don't do it right. So you listen to that and you touch on it, and you can make your comments as you need, but I'm not pulling any small punches here. I'm just going to put it out like it needs to be put out. But just touching back up on the man and woman, it's a great union. It's established. God has purposed it. Man is not made for man in a companionship. Woman is not made for woman. Woman was made for the man. And in that sense, she comes to his program. She comes to his leadership. She finds a guy that she really likes. She can look up to. She can look forward to his leadership, and she joins his life and what he's doing. And that's usually the way that goes. And even if your parents are helping you pick your mate and stuff, still, you got your program, and hopefully you got a program going. And so when women pick you, she's picking you because she can deal with your leadership. There's no problem being a good companion with him. And you women that think that you are going to come in and dominate the men, I'm not. This is not for you. This is not for you. Or the women that don't feel like a man has any special place in your life to be your leader or anything like that. I'm not talking to you either. I'm not interested in that group. You can watch this and you can listen. You can call it bull crap all you want, but at the end of the day, we got a nation that we need to keep. Our men need to be stepping up to the plate and doing what they're supposed to be doing, and women need to be working with them to do it. You don't need to be trying to oust them, overthrow them, rebel on them, and kick them around and talk about them. That's not a good woman. You're not a good woman if you're doing that. In fact, you're not a woman of God. You can't be a woman of God. So you're probably Satan's woman, but you're not God's woman. So let me keep going. And any man that mistreats a woman that's beautiful like that, God-fearing woman, you mistreat a woman, man, you got problems on your hands, brother. You will not make it, bro. You will not make it. You cannot mistreat a woman like that. Now I can see you getting into it with a woman that's disrespecting you, that's talking back to you, that is trying to step on you, trying to clip you, trying to make you, trying to undermine you. Yeah, you might have some fights with that kind of woman because she's got some kind of spirit in her, that some kind of lesbian or some kind of demonic thing in her where she feels like she has to fight you. Maybe something happened in her childhood and her upbringing. Maybe she saw that her daddy wasn't ever there. She don't see no importance in you. Those kind of women I don't think are fit for marriage. They're not fit for the union of man and woman. They want to be always talking side by side like they're equal. Like you can't have two captains on the same ship. One of you's going to be a captain, one of you's going to be a darn lieutenant. But you're not going to have two captains on the same ship. I just put it to you that way. Okay, so or what do you call two captains over the same company or something? You're not going. They say this is not the military. It's just an illustration. Somebody's going to be the head, and somebody's going to be the head by God's setup, and somebody's going to be the supporter. Okay, that's all there is to it. If you got a woman that's got this leadership thing in her, if she don't feel like a man can, do not marry that woman. I'm with a warning to you, brothers. Do not marry that woman. Forget her. She's in her own thing. She'll destroy you. Okay? So that's all I have to say. She'll destroy you. There's some men destroying women. We know how that works. We know all about women beating men. We know all about men not taking care of men beating women, men not taking care of their children. We heard about this ever since the 70s and 60s. Men ain't taking care of their children. Men aren't taking care of their family. We know this. Men doing bad things in the community. What about that bad woman? What about that bad woman that's undermining the man? She's going around sleeping behind her man's back with other men, got her legs open all around the community, and then talking about her husband to other people, and the dude's trying to do something with his life. What about that woman? What about the hoe? We don't hear about the hoe anymore. The whore. We don't hear about the tramp and the slut. We don't hear about that. Everybody's trying to make all these things glorious. A woman screwing 4 and 5 men, man screwing 4 and 5. You know men been doing it, but now the woman's tainting her character by trying to follow the paths of these old nasty, wicked men. So, and I'm not saying that I'm an angel. If I have walked a path that wasn't good, I try to clean it up. But I'm in a position now that I can talk to my brothers, and say, hey, man, you want to go the straight way, the straight, narrow path. But anyway, the institution of man and woman is one of the first institutions. It's very important, and the order is very important. That's the way God set it up. I don't have to go to the New Testament to tell you that women should not be leading men, especially in the church, or leading them. No. And what makes him so smart to lead? He could be a big dummy, right? Let's say he's a big dummy, a big dumb box of rocks. What you marrying for? What you choose him as your leader for? If I have a daughter, if she tries to marry a dude that's a big dumb box of rocks, I'm gonna tell her he's a big dumb box of rocks, and you're gonna have a hard time following this dude. You better pick your man as though you picking somebody that you can look up to and that can be a good leader for you. Okay? He may not have as much money as you, but he's a darn good leader. That's what you pick. Okay? You pick a strong man. If you don't like strong men, stay out of that marriage thing. Stay out of it. Or you might be able to find something that'll work for you. But we're talking about staying with and strengthening the race of African descendants and African people and people who have been enslaved and people who have been trampled over. We're talking about building those type of people back up, and that's what this is. That's why it's called Panafricentric Ministries. You're trying to build this man up back to his rightful place, and the women that don't want to come along with it, oust them. Get them. Let them stay in the plantation. Let them stay with Miss Master Charlie because she's made for that. She's bred for him. She's bred to be his wench. And that's what she is, because she's not the woman of the African king and the African man. And if you're a king that's sitting up here, and I don't know. But if you're a king messing with little bitty girls, bro, man, you ain't no king. You ain't nothing, bro. You ain't nothing but a molester. So you let a girl be a woman, flourish into being a woman. You don't go grabbing no darn 9-year-old, 12-year-old girl be your wife. Man, that's a whole nother topic, man, for a whole nother day. Let me leave that one alone. So anyway, woman is made for the man. The union of marriage is one of the best institutions out here. And out of this comes the family. Out of this comes the offspring. Out of this comes the children. And this is how nations are born. From the man and the woman, nations develop. And now other institutions come about. So now we're going to talk about man and man. So man dealing with other man, you have to deal with the evils of man, you have to deal with the good of man. You have to deal with the shortcomings of man, you have to deal with men who don't believe in God. You have to deal with men who believe in God. You have the men who practice the principles of Christ or God. Men who don't practice it. Men who are over you in the military who do not believe in God. Men who are over you in the military who do believe in God. There's so many dynamics to this life that you have to walk the walk that God has set for you. And if you know the purpose of man, that he's crowned him with a crown of glory, you don't need to be undermined or misused by any other man and any other race and any other nation that wants to undermine you and tell you you're nobody. You deal with man as you were dealing with God's child, and if that person proves himself to be a child of the devil, you deal with him like he's the child of the devil. You don't give him no breaks either. You keep your head up. Keep your head up. Okay? Be wise, but keep your head up. It says God in the book of Matthew, chapter 15, verses 4-6. It says God commanded father and mother to be honored by the children, or to be honored. Okay, and that if anybody curses or does dishonor to their father and mother, they should be put to death according to the Old Testament. Okay. And then Christ was telling this story in this 15th chapter of Matthew, and about how that the Pharisees and the scribes have changed the law, basically saying that you're released from honoring your mother and father, and that was taken care of by the synagogue or something to that effect. And then Christ said that you make the commandment of God to no effect because you're pushing the tradition of men and not the commandment and the law of God. And so these men that get up into these institutions like the church, and they change the commandment of God to be the leader for the men to run the churches, the men to be the keeper of the ground, the keeper of all species. And you get them in here rewriting everything and putting women over it. You got a problem right there. And it says that you do these after the commandment of men and make his commandment to no effect. Okay? So you dishonor God in your actions, you dishonor God in your heart. Okay? And he said a tree will be known by its fruit. Okay? So it's saying that you'll know what people believe by what they do. You'll know by what a man believes by what he speaks. A lot of times men speak good things, but they don't believe it. So there's a lot of ministers that really are up there just for money. They're just a hireling. They don't believe half of, 3/4 of what is preached. What is written in the Bible. Or the scriptures, they don't believe it. They don't believe it. I can tell a lot of them in their spirit. I can look in their eyes. Sometimes I can just look at them and see they don't believe anything that they're teaching. They're just up there for the money, up there for the convenience of it. That they don't believe it. You know, some of them are writing their own doctrines, or writing their own thing. They're not following the scriptures as they should. So you got that group out there that's very self-serving, and it's not about the people. It's just about using the people to get to what they need. See? And then when Jesus was talking about this in the 15th chapter, the disciples said, you know that you offended the Pharisees when you said this about them writing their own law. And he said that in verse 13 of chapter 15, he said, every plant my heavenly Father has not planted will be uprooted. So he's saying that when God comes in and sets order, if it hasn't been something that he's done, it's going to be uprooted, whether they like it or not, because they shouldn't have planted the wrong seed to the people. So if you got women pastoring churches, you one of those guys that out there responsible for putting them over that, it's going to be uprooted. It's going to be uprooted with truth. It's going to be uprooted by judgment, and it's going to be uprooted even before the final days, because those ministries are man-made. Those ministries are upheld by men. And so those are not right. And you're also undermining the position that God has placed for man on this regular earth, church or no church. You're undermining what the leadership, you should be. You know, one reason why you guys don't hardly have no men in your church, you got all these women. Usually in North America, it's more prevalent. You got a lot of Christian ministries full of women, because the message caters to a soft group and it gives them what they want to hear. But you're not really preaching the strength that men like. Men are naturally drawn to strong and strength. They like strong leadership. If your leadership is weak, chances are you just have mostly women up in your church, man. You hardly got no men. But if you go over to Islam, you'll see mostly men in there seem to be outnumbering the women, because they have that natural order. That's the way it should basically be. But In the Christian faith, they're trying to tear all of that down. Satan is coming in trying to tear all of that structure down. So if a Muslim wants to come over to Christian faith, he's not just looking at the doctrinal, the theological differences. He's looking at also the institution of the family and how that's structured and how the man and the woman relate to each other. He's looking at that. So I have to close here. Peace, love, God bless you.